The Netherlands want every car on its roads to be electric, with lawmakers passing a motion that would ban sales of new petrol and diesel vehicles by 2025. Could we do it here? Is it something we should aim for? Green Party co-leader James Shaw says New Zealand should be doing the same, and joins me now. James, morning to you.
Good morning, Paul.
I'm not going to hit you up about this useless bloody electric plane, which is fumbling its way around the world. Let's talk cars.
You always had to start somewhere.
Well, you do. Let's start talking cars. Netherlands. So originally what they wanted was to have all petrol and diesel cars off the road by 2025. In putting the law together, they've backtracked and now said we just won't have any new petrol or diesel cars sold from 2025. Is this aspirational? Should this be aspirational for us, do you think, as well?
Yeah, I think if the Netherlands can do it, you've got to remember Norway have also announced exactly the same thing. There's no reason why we couldn't do something similar. I don't think that we need to ban the sale of petrol cars. I wouldn't go that far, but we do need to kickstart the market here.
Okay, and that much I would absolutely agree with you on. The trouble is, though, setting it as a goal is similar to our emissions goals, isn't it? Unless you actually have a pathway, I'm sounding like you now, unless you actually have a pathway to that goal, the goal is just a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's really important to have a plan in place. And last year, the Green Party announced that we would remove fringe benefit tax from electric vehicles, which would significantly increase the uptake of electric vehicles in New Zealand.
What other things do we need to do? Because it seems to me the biggest problem is, again, it's our density. We don't have that critical mass. So there are companies that are very reluctant to release en masse viable electric cars here. And an example of that is that Nissan have actually pulled the Leaf from New Zealand.
Yeah, Nissan decided not to bother because in New Zealand only 1/4% of all new vehicles sold are electric. If you compare that to the Netherlands, it's 10% of all new vehicles, and in Norway it's 20% of all new vehicles are electric. So they decided not, to get out of our market, and I think that actually we could do a lot better, and it would just take, frankly, a fairly easy incentive to start to encourage businesses to start buying in electrics for their corporate fleet, which a few years later would end up in the second-hand market, which is where most Kiwis buy their cars.
The other big problem, of course, is the infrastructure, just to make them as viable as possible. Rapid charge stations. I mean, we need a network of those around New Zealand before many people are going to even consider purchasing one as their main vehicle.
Yeah, you do, but actually, these are starting to get built already. You only need to charge these cars. Most people only need to charge these cars about once a week. And if you start to see a significant uptake in the number of vehicles, then actually the market will simply follow in behind.
Yeah. Okay, so what does the government need to do? You've already said that it's your policy that the fringe benefit tax would go on electric vehicles, which is a step in the right direction, I suppose. What other things should the government be doing?
Well, so the fringe benefit tax would save about $8,000 off a $40,000 vehicle, so that would make it much more affordable for most businesses and people to start to get into that kind of market. There are a number of things that other countries do. For example, in London, in central London, electric vehicles have free parking. Now, in Auckland, I can imagine that if you had that, then there'd be a huge uptake of electric vehicles.
Yeah, I don't like this, James, honest to God. You're creating two kinds of citizens, aren't you? You're creating, this is a whole class structure here. You go up to your supermarket, you've got your bloody mothers with prams parks, you've got your old people's parks, your disabled parks, now you're going to have your electric vehicle parks. Where am I going to park?
Well, Paul, you too can have a high-grade vehicle which is fully electric. It's a dream to drive. It just doesn't require petrol, and that would save you money.
And you know what they've got now? Those cars, those electric cars that have got, you can choose which sort of engine sound you want. So you literally dial it up on the dash, and you can have, you can have Ferrari, Lamborghini, you can go Aston Martin,
I think you'd love that, Paul.
I think I would. All right, James, you buy one of these high-end cars, take me for a drive, and I'll make a call. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks,
James Shaw, Greens co-leader.